Welcome back to Mysteries Crime Stories, the channel where we dive into the darkest crimes, the strangest cases, and the mysteries that have haunted generations. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe so you never miss these mysteries. Tell us in the comments what you think about the cases we cover, what you'd like to see in future videos, and share the story with anyone who would find it important. Now, let's begin. The small town of Dharmasthala, tucked away in the lush green hills of Karnataka, India, is a place where faith and tradition run deep. For centuries, pilgrims have come here in search of blessings, guidance, and redemption. The temple at Dharmasthala is not just a site of worship. It is woven into the very identity of the region. It is a place whispered about with reverence, associated with charity, hospitality, and divine justice. But in recent months, that holy reputation has been shaken by whispers of something far darker, something almost unthinkable. It began with a man who described himself as a whistleblower, someone who claimed that beneath the calm surface of this sacred town lay a secret graveyard. He alleged that for years, perhaps decades, the remains of more than 100 women and minors had been buried in mass pits, hidden near temple lands. His claims spread like wildfire, sparking horror and disbelief across India. Could such atrocities really have been concealed in a place so celebrated for purity and piety? The man told investigators and the media that he had been personally involved in digging the graves. With chilling detail, he described lowering bodies into the earth, night after night, in silence. According to him, some were victims of abuse, others of ritualistic exploitation, and many were minors. The idea alone sent shockwaves through communities who had always associated Dharmasthala with moral authority and protection of the vulnerable. If his story was true, it would unravel not just a scandal, but an entire belief system. News outlets latched onto the story. Headlines screamed of mass burials, cover-ups, and potential human rights violations. Yet, as public outrage grew, investigators arrived in Dharmasthala and began their search. Teams combed through the land surrounding the temple, probing the soil, scanning the terrain, even digging in places the whistleblower had described. But what they found, or rather what they did not find, only deepened the mystery. Despite the horrific claims, there was little physical evidence to support them. No rows of skeletons, no mass grave sites clearly identifiable, no proof that dozens of bodies lay beneath the sacred earth. This absence of evidence has fueled a storm of speculation. Was the whistleblower telling the truth, revealing a nightmare carefully buried? Or was he fabricating a tale for attention, revenge, or reasons still unclear? For the faithful who revere Dharmasthala, the allegations feel like an assault, not just on an institution, but on their very faith. For others, the story fits into long-standing suspicions about the abuse of power hidden behind spiritual authority. Investigators now face a daunting challenge: proving or disproving the most disturbing claim in the town's modern history. Forensic experts have been deployed, with ground-penetrating equipment and teams trained to identify burial sites. The problem is that Dharmasthala is a vast landscape. Pilgrims, devotees, and local residents have walked these grounds for centuries. Disturbing soil, testing pits, and conducting excavations in such a sacred environment is itself fraught with controversy. Every spadeful of dirt lifted is a clash between truth-seeking and tradition. The whistleblower's testimony is disturbing in its specificity. He claimed that the bodies were disposed of over many years, often at night, when no one was watching. He spoke of hurried rituals, shallow graves, and the silencing of victims. He insisted that women and minors had been the primary targets, suggesting a pattern of systemic exploitation. His account carried the weight of guilt, as if he were haunted by his own complicity. And yet, without corroboration, his words remain allegations, horrifying but unverified. In the corridors of law enforcement, the case is delicate. On one hand, ignoring such claims could mean allowing atrocities to remain hidden forever. On the other, pursuing an investigation without solid proof risks damaging the reputation of a centuries-old institution revered by millions. The stakes could not be higher. Already, politicians, activists, and religious leaders have weighed in, each with their own interpretations. Some demand immediate arrests, others call for patience and restraint. The people of Dharmasthala itself are caught in the crossfire of belief and doubt. For them, the temple is more than stone and ritual. It is the center of their economic and spiritual lives. Pilgrims arrive daily, offering prayers and donations. Local businesses thrive because of this flow of visitors. The idea that beneath the sanctity lies a field of bones threatens not just faith, but livelihoods. Some residents angrily dismiss the whistleblower as a liar. Others quietly wonder if he has exposed a truth too dark to accept. Cultural historians remind us that India has witnessed similar allegations before. Whispers of hidden crimes within religious settings, stories of exploitation masked by ritual. In some cases, these whispers proved false, collapsing under scrutiny. In others, truth emerged slowly, revealed only after years of silence and denial. That is what makes Dharmasthala's story so haunting. It sits on the knife edge of possibility, its future depending on evidence that so far has refused to surface. The investigation continues with urgency. Soil samples are collected, analyzed for human remains. Forensic archaeologists examine the terrain for disturbances consistent with burial. Police sift through missing persons reports, trying to connect dots between vanished women and the alleged graves. The search is methodical but agonizingly slow. Each day without discovery weakens the whistleblower's credibility. Each day with unexplained anomalies strengthens suspicion. Meanwhile, the whistleblower himself has become both a witness and a target. Some hail him as courageous, willing to risk his safety to expose hidden horrors. Others see him as a manipulator, dragging a revered institution through the mud. His identity, background, and motives are now under scrutiny. Why come forward now? What proof, if any, does he hold beyond his words? Investigators press him for details, names, dates, specific burial sites, but each claim demands evidence, and evidence remains scarce. The media has amplified the tension. Images of forensic teams digging in sacred ground circulate online, fueling debate. Social media erupts with hashtags demanding justice, while others condemn the allegations as blasphemy. For victims' advocates, even the possibility of hidden mass graves is too serious to dismiss. They argue that every claim must be investigated thoroughly, because if true, it represents one of the darkest crimes imaginable: the mass disposal of women and children in silence. Religious authorities at Dharmasthala have firmly denied the allegations. They call them baseless, malicious, and deeply hurtful. They insist that the temple has always stood for charity, justice, and care for the vulnerable. In their eyes, the whistleblower's claims are nothing more than lies designed to discredit a sacred institution. They have pledged full cooperation with authorities, but emphasize that no credible evidence has been found. This conflict between allegation and denial, between faith and forensic science, is where the story now resides. Investigators must tread carefully, balancing the need for truth with the sensitivity of religious devotion. Every move is watched, criticized, debated. The story has already spread beyond Karnataka, beyond India, catching international attention. To some, Dharmasthala is now a symbol of a larger question. How do societies confront claims of hidden crimes when they strike at the heart of cultural identity? The whistleblower insists that the truth lies beneath the soil, waiting to be uncovered. But soil is silent. It does not give up its secrets easily. If there are bodies, they may have long since decomposed, leaving behind traces too faint to detect. If the claims are false, the soil will tell nothing, and the damage to reputations may linger regardless. That uncertainty is the story's sharpest edge. In villages around Dharmasthala, old rumors resurface. Some recall stories of girls who disappeared, their families silenced. Others dismiss these as coincidences, tragedies with no connection to the temple. Memory and myth blur together, creating a fog through which truth is hard to see. Every missing person, every unexplained death, is now reframed under the shadow of the whistleblower's words. The case forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How much weight should a single testimony carry? What happens when faith collides with forensic science? How do we honor the possibility of victims while protecting the innocent from false allegations? These are not easy questions, and in Dharmasthala, they have no easy answers. For now, investigators continue their quiet, painstaking work. The whistleblower's story hovers like a ghost over the temple town, unsettling pilgrims and residents alike. Faith demands certainty, but investigation thrives on doubt. Between these two, Dharmasthala waits, suspended in unease. And perhaps that is the cruelest part of this mystery. The waiting. Waiting for evidence. Waiting for truth. Waiting for closure that may never come. Because whether the graves exist or not, Dharmasthala has already been changed. Its image is no longer pristine. Its sanctity has been questioned. And its story has entered the realm of global mystery, a place where shadows linger and answers may never fully emerge.